The Pokemon Card 151 set has been almost fully revealed over in Japan, but it was revealed in this full set kind of snapshot. So we don't know what most of the cards do. But then last night, a handful of the cards were actually fully revealed and translated, so we'll be looking at those. The Pokemon Card 151 will likely be the specialty like holiday set for North America, and I think it's coming out this summer in Japan. Yeah, it's coming out on June 16th in Japan, so we'll definitely know what all the cards do in early June. But we can see from this kind of teaser, this full poster of the set, we can see that there is Venusaur EX, Charizard EX, Blastoise, Arbok, Ninetales, Wigglytuff. We already saw Alakazam, Golem EX, Kangaskhan, Jinx EX, Zapdos, and Mew. The set's going to have 165 cards before secret rares, so the trainer cards and energies and secret rares are not included in this poster. Personally, I'm really excited for Golem EX because I don't think there's ever been a good Golem card, so I'm excited to see what they might do for that Golem. And overall, in the Scarlet and Violet era, they're making a lot more cards playable and a lot more cards interesting. So I have high hopes for what they're going to do for these. But we can look at Venusaur, Charizard, Blastoise, and some other cards from the Pokemon Card 151 set. Starting out with Venusaur EX. So Venusaur EX has 340 HP. Let me put that somewhere you could see it. 340 HP with the ability Soothing Bloom. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active, you may heal 60 from one of your Pokemon. And then it has the Potent Whip 150, and your opponent's active is now poisoned and confused. So the Soothing Bloom ability is interesting. Heals 60 from one of your Pokemon if this is in the active position. You could use this as like a card that tanks damage because it has 340 HP. It can heal itself for a minimum of 60 each turn. If you set up multiple Venusaurs, you could switch between them and heal 120 each turn. If you switch other Venusaur EXs into the active. So this could lend itself to a control strategy for that reason, but also because the only other Venusaur we currently have for standard format is this one from Pokemon Go set, which has once during your turn, you may flip a coin. If heads, switch one of your opponent's benched Pokemon with their active, and then the new active Pokemon is asleep and poisoned. So your strategy could be something like leave this Venus excuse me, leave this Venusaur out in the active with high HP and healing capabilities, and then go for this gust effect that also puts the Pokemon to sleep. So that's kind of what I was thinking because like with as we know with stage 2 Pokemon, they're better if there's an accompanying stage 2 in the same evolution line. So that's why I directly looked to, well, what Venusaur do we have available? And this is the only one. Next, we have Charizard EX. And Charizard EX is actually the one with the most promising card combination as of right now, I think. So Charizard EX has 330 HP, pretty bulky. And remember, these are only two prize Pokemon. Looking at these high 300 plus HP Pokemon, being so used to VMAXs for a few years, you might be thinking that they're worth three prizes just naturally, but they are all worth two prizes. Charizard EX has Resolute Wings. It does 60 damage for one fire energy, and then if it has any damage on it, it does 160. 160 is a really good chunk of damage for just one energy on a 330 HP Pokemon. Let's say that because it has to have damage counters on it, it's at 310 damage. So you used a Magma Basin or something. So on a 310 HP, you're swinging 160 for one energy. That's not bad at all. And then Detonating Vortex does 330 damage, and you have to discard 3 energy from this Pokemon. But honestly, that's a lot of damage for just 4 energy. Now, Charizard, I did mention, has a very promising combination. It has Charizard from Pokemon Go. The ability Burn Brightly, each basic fire energy attached to your Pokemon provides 2 fire energy instead. So, if you're playing, 4 Charmander, a couple of Charmeleon, 4 Rare Candy, and then you're playing a couple of these and a couple of the EX, it will be pretty feasible to set up one of each if that's the main goal of your deck, and they're both coming from the same evolution line. And then one gives you extra energy, and the other one uses that extra energy to attack for 330 damage every turn. So you would also want to pair this with something like Magma Basin, probably, but that's not too hard to do. So the Charizard EX, I think, has some pretty cool potential. The card also looks really, really awesome. And then we have Blastoise EX, my favorite starter ever. 330 HP. It has the solid shell ability. This Pokemon takes 30 less damage from attacks. Also has some good tanking capabilities, just like Venusaur does. But you're probably not. The plan is typically not to evolve up into a stage 2 just to tank with it. I think Raja EX probably does that job better since it's a stage 1 with similar attributes. But Blastoise EX has the twin cannons for water water. It does 140 damage X. Discard up to 2 basic water energy from your hand, and it does 140 for each card you discarded. So it can do a maximum of 280. The thing is, this might turn some people away because Chien Pal has a similar attack for discarding waters from the board, but it has an unlimited damage output. The thing is, with Blastoise EX, you just have to set up one stage 2 Pokemon and it's your attacker. Whereas with Chien Pal, you have to set up Excalibur to accelerate energy to Chien Pal, and then Chien Pal has 100 plus less HP compared to the Blastoise EX. So Chien Pal has more damage output, but Blastoise has more survivability. And I like that trade-off that they're offering here. It's not just Blastoise EX has more HP and can also one-shot things. It can one-shot things, but not as well as Chien Pal can. And then for Blastoise, we just have Vitality Spring. Once a turn, you can search your deck for up to 6 energies and attach them to your Pokemon any way you like. Then shuffle your deck, and then your turn ends. So, this isn't actually going to be very good to use with Blastoise EX, since Blastoise EX is discarding energy from your hand. But you could potentially include this Blastoise into your deck. Maybe you use it with Chien Pal and you put Blastoise EX out into the active to take a hit for a turn while you use Vitality Spring and end your turn. But I think this is the counterpart non-EX of these 3 Kanto starters that we currently have from the Pokemon Go sets that works the least with their new EX. Then we also have some trainer cards. So we have Snatch Arm. Look at your opponent's hand, choose a Pokemon you find there, and put it at the bottom of your opponent's deck. That's pretty cool. We have Leftovers. It's a tool, and while it's attached, you heal 20 damage from that Pokemon at the end of your turn. I don't like that it's only at the end of your turn. I really wish that it was between turns. And then we also have Erica's Invitation, which is a supporter. Your opponent reveals their hand and you put a basic from there on their bench and then you bring it up into the active. It's kind of like Captivating Pokepuff at a boss's orders all in one, or like a Mawile GX and a boss's orders all in one. But it's your supporter for turn, so I'm up in the air if this will actually be a card that sees play without other ways to look at your opponent's hand prior to playing it. But it's an interesting card nonetheless, and like I said, I feel like they're trying to make a lot of their cards interesting now at the very least, instead of just giving us bulk cards that are boring. So those are all of the Pokemon card 151 cards we've seen revealed so far, but you can check out Pokebeach if you want to zoom in on these and try to guess what some of these other cards might do. Like you can see that Zapdos EX has an ability. Articuno and Moltres are not EX Pokemon, but they also have abilities. Dragonite has an ability. Let's see. Golem EX does not. Ninetales EX does not have an ability. So might be fun to look through there and try to guess what each card might do, or like what kind of themes you hope they bring back for each of the Pokemon in the set. So that's all for today. Remember to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.